Good afternoon. Welcome once again to the Schmidt Show here on News Radio 1029 KARN. My name is Brad Schmidt. This is, of course, as I just said, the Schmidt Show. And we are glad you're here. We're glad you're spending another week with us. It is Free Speech Friday. Anything you want to talk about today is fair game. We'll open up the phones and we'll talk about any of the subjects that you want to talk about. Like I said last week and I've said many, many times before, Monday through Friday, I am the benevolent dictator who guides the show to greatness. And on Fridays, I hand the keys over to you and allow you to determine the direction of the show. And I mean, if we're honest, I'm pretty happy to chase rabbit trails on any day, but on Fridays we do it on purpose. We chase rabbits. We go down holes with great intentionality, if you will. So anything you want to talk about today is, of course, fair game, and we'll jump on any of it. We will follow every rabbit and chase every fox down every trail we can find. So 501-403-KARN is the phone number, 501-403-5276, whether you happen to be living in Bossier City, or now we may have to add Louisville, Kentucky to it, or is it Louisville? Is that where Coach Cal is from, or is he from the other? I think it's Lexington. I think that's where they were from. But yeah, we'll stick with Bossier City for now. But yeah, 501-403-5276, 501-403-KARN. And there is, of course, a lot to talk about. Texter already started. Texter says to Ashley King, our news partner over at KRK, the word is fentanyl, not fentanyl. Yeah, no, it is fentanyl is the actual word, and it gets mispronounced by everybody all the time. Fentanyl. There's a million ways to say it. The correct way to say it, though, of course, is fentanyl. It's FENTANYL, I believe, is how it is spelled. So already jumping into the fun stuff today. Texter says, hey, Brad, I sent you a message last night about the Jefferson County Judge Gerald Robinson canceling payroll. We got paid today, but as of 10 this morning, the payroll for the 15th through the 30th of April is still denied. There's a press conference on Pine Bluff Commercial Facebook from this morning about that. I saw this message last night. I didn't have time to really dig into it today. It was one of those days already. So we'll definitely have to talk about that. And if you feel comfortable, give us a shout and tell us, maybe give us the backstory as to why a particular judge would be canceling payroll for county employees. That seems just generally kind of silly and inappropriate, quite honestly. I'm assuming he has some sort of reason for it. What that reason might be is beyond me, I guess. I'm not sure why they would cancel any sort of county payroll. I mean, unless they are bankrupt, did the county run out of money? I mean, is there any sort of discussion there? Has anybody been in talks or in discussion with the state if that's even acceptable or possible? I guess I don't know how all of that works. So we'll definitely talk about it today. So the Pine Bluff Commercial is a newspaper in Pine Bluff, as I understand it. I've not spent much time down there, of course, but yeah, it says press conference held by Jefferson County Sheriff Lafayette Woods Jr., quorum court members, and Jefferson County elected officials, and it is 51 minutes and 44 seconds long, so I won't have time to watch the entire video, but maybe if somebody that works down there or somebody that has some inside information, you could share the details with us on that. Texter says, Brad, who is this Sheriff Finkbeiner? Is it Hot Spring County? I think it's Hot Spring County is where he is the sheriff, and yeah, it's not been a good couple of weeks for him. He was originally indicted, a month ago, something like that. He was originally indicted on some charges. He refused to step down. but they stripped him of his authority. The quorum court of that county stripped him of his authority. And so, yeah, he's claiming it's all made up. He's claiming it's all, no, I didn't do it. Not being involved down there, not being a part of the investigation, it's tough to say. I'm guessing if I had to make a judgment just off of what I've read, it feels like he's maybe spinning it a little bit. He's probably guilty of most of it, but he's going to spin it. Well, the technical legal definition is this, that, or the other. So I'm not really guilty of what they claim I'm guilty of, but it sure feels like he's pretty guilty. Now, the problem with that is in doing that and in saying that, I am automatically engaging in, guilty before proven guilty, right? Instead of innocent until proven guilty, I'm fully, in the camp where you're making a judgment based on public opinion. The public opinion seems to be that this guy did a lot of the things he's being accused of, and he doesn't seem to be a very decent dude, and he's probably going to go to jail. And it's not good for sheriffs usually in jail. They don't usually do well. Police officers are usually not so well treated in prison. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. According to the latest report, the charges that he has been, or the things that he's been charged with, include all kinds of different stuff: felony unauthorized use of crime lab information, misdemeanor sexual solicitation, which I believe that is he tried to buy a prostitute. The agents that are investigating this said that he surrendered to the detention center and his bond was set at $10,000. So I guess we'll see. We'll see how this plays out, and we'll see if he is actually guilty. But I don't have a lot of faith that he is going to be exonerated and returned to his position as the sheriff of Hot Spring County. So 501-403-KRN, 501-403-5276 is the number if you want to join the conversation, be a part of the discussion today. It is Free Speech Friday. A few things we can talk about is one of the stories I want to kind of get into is we've got to stop confusing wokeism and leftism or leftist political ideology. They're not the same thing. And simply equating wokeism or leftists with wokeism, it masks the very dangerous economic policies oftentimes pushed by the left, because the wokeism stuff really isn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. As long as they're not allowed to set economic policy, as long as they're not allowed to determine political policy really at any level, because if I go to work and my coworker is offended that I use the wrong pronouns, yeah, maybe it makes the work environment a little bit uncomfortable, makes it a little bit awkward, all of that. But in the end, it doesn't affect anything. I can still do my job. Hopefully they will still be able to do their job, right? If they want to, dress in women's clothes and they're a dude, or if they're a woman and want to dress in men's clothes and grow facial hair through the use of hormones, so what? I mean, on the whole, it doesn't really affect much. I don't really care. But when they get to make economic policy that either encourages or punishes folks to get involved in the wokeism stuff, then I've got a problem. And so I am more concerned about a radical leftist who understands biology and gender in an appropriate scientific understanding, but has policies that will destroy entire nations' economic systems. I'm more worried about that than I am about the girl who dyes her hair blue and wants to be called George. And, that doesn't really affect me all that much. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We've got to be careful not to confuse wokeism and leftism as the same thing, or wokeism and socialism, communism, Marxism, whatever. Those two things are very separate, because it makes us, the other danger is that it makes us or lulls us into a false sense of security that the left is ineffective because they're just a bunch of delusional blue-haired college-age boys who think they have, that even though they have testicles instead of ovaries, that they can get pregnant, right? There's much more dangerous things at stake in those discussions. So we'll get into that and a whole lot of other stuff. It is Free Speech Friday today. Anything you want to talk about is fair game. We'll continue with the Schmidt Show next on News Radio 102.9 KARN.